Alright, as Legend Showdown continues, tag team competition. Straight ahead, to close out the first hour, the Hart Foundation, Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart, facing Playboy Buddy Rose and Bob Backlund.
Well, that's interesting. Backlund and Buddy Rose still working together.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next tag team match, one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Approaching the ring at a combined weight of 515 pounds. From Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Bret the Hitman Hart. And from Reno, Nevada, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, the Hart Foundation.
Bret and the Anvil coming off a big win over the Freak and the Wild Thing, the Snarl Tag Team Champions, and Bret the Hitman Hart certainly shed his share of blood in that particular matchup.
No, absolutely no question about it. That was a hard-fought victory, that was.
And their opponents at a combined weight of 520 pounds. From Princeton, Minnesota, Bob Backlund. And from Las Vegas, Nevada, Playboy Buddy Rose.
Yeah, Reg, these two have been tag team partners ever since Bob Backlund rescued Playboy Buddy Rose from Pat Patterson and Ray Stevens. They was going to attack him with a chair, and Backlund came and saved the day, and, well, ever since then, they've been tag team partners.
And it always does my heart good, Danny, to see a tag team partnership bonded out of friendship and respect. And it seems to be that's what Bob Backlund and Buddy Rose have.
Well, there's one thing I want to know if they have.
And what's that?
Do they have what it takes to defeat the Hart Foundation?
Well, that's a great question, Danny. We're going to find out right about now.
It's a pretty interesting mix of opponents. Going to make for a good tag team match. The Hitman and Playboy Buddy Rose starting us off here. The ref rings the bell. They come center ring. They lock up. Buddy Rose goes behind on Bret the Hitman Hart, takes him down to the canvas into a headlock. The Hitman rounds him up, counters into a headlock of his own, takes him down to the mat. Buddy Rose with a head scissor. The Hitman gets out of that, right back into the headlock. Followed up with a shot to the head. Playboy Buddy Rose whips the Hitman to the ropes. The Hitman counters. Fireman's carry from Playboy Buddy Rose. Buddy with the Hitman up against the ropes. Drop toe hold from the Hitman drapes Buddy Rose across the center rope as the Hitman drives the knee into the back of the Playboy. The Hitman whips Buddy Rose to his team's corner. Buddy Rose, quick counter, whips the Hitman to his team's corner. Here comes Bob Backlund on the tag. And here comes the double team. An air-assisted crossbody from Bob Backlund. The Hitman counters with a jawbreaker. Gets a hold of Backlund. Whips into the Hart Foundation corner. Backlund kicks out. The Hitman hits him with an elbow. Backlund hits him with a kick. The Hitman clotheslines him right out onto the floor. Wow. Bret the Hitman Hart goes out after Bob Backlund. Gets him back inside the ring. Jim the Anvil Neidhart cheering his partner on. Bob Backlund whipped to the ropes. Backlund with a quick Olay out of the way, but catches the kick. Puts the brakes on the Hitman, takes him down to the mat. Into a single leg crab. Wow. The Hitman with the counter move finds his way out. Bret Hart with a knee into the back of Bob Backlund. Bret whips Backlund to his team's corner. Backlund again counters, finds his way out of the corner. Gets a hold of the Hitman. There's a snapmare from Backlund. Backlund misses with the kick. Bret the Hitman Hart goes behind. Side suplex. Takes Backlund to the mat. Bret the Hitman Hart sets up Backlund. Got him by the trunks all the way up. Long vertical suplex from the Hitman. Backlund back up real quick. Up over the shoulders goes the Hitman. Flapjack to the canvas. Face first. Bob Backlund. Countered by the Hitman. Backlund gets a hold of the Hitman. Whips him into his team's corner. Here comes Playboy Buddy Rose. And here comes the double team. The drop toe hold and the elbow from the Playboy. Bret Hart back up, delivers a kick to the Playboy. And a spinning neckbreaker. Bret Hart with a stomp to the face of Playboy Buddy Rose. Buddy counters with the leg sweep. Another jawbreaker from Bret the Hitman Hart. But Playboy Buddy Rose shoves him down to the mat. Follows it up with a couple of stomps. The Playboy snaps the leg on the excellence of execution. Here's a hot tag to Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Buddy Rose puts the brakes on him right away. The Anvil counters with elbows. The Playboy Buddy Rose misses with the charging move, catches a kick to the side from the Playboy. A clubbing overhand right. Buddy Rose with a back suplex on Jim the Anvil Neidhart. The Anvil starting to lose his temper a little bit. Playboy Buddy Rose on the outside with the Anvil, winds up the arm. The Anvil counters with some shots, backs off Playboy Buddy Rose. Playboy counters with an elbow to the leg. An elbow to the face of the Anvil. The Anvil puts on the brakes, slams down Buddy Rose to the floor. Rounds him up by his throat. Buddy Rose again with another couple of elbows. A couple of right hands. He's got Jim the Anvil Neidhart reeling. Jim the Anvil Neidhart head first into the ring post. Courtesy of Playboy Buddy Rose. He does it again. The Playboy not fooling around here. Gets the Anvil up. Anvil counters with a knee to the head. Playboy Buddy Rose counters. Another right, and a third. The Anvil hits the announce table on the outside. Again, driven face first into the ring post by Playboy Buddy Rose. Buddy rolls him back inside the ring. That was a pretty good salvo from Playboy Buddy Rose, but here comes Bret the Hitman Hart. A clothesline from the Hitman. Buddy Rose puts a stop on him and takes him down. One arm. Playboy Buddy Rose kind of enjoying himself. There's a stomp to the Hitman, a hard right, another one, and a third one. A kick. Bret the Hitman Hart catching all kind of jabs and a little fancy footwork, and a hard right from Playboy Buddy Rose. He just busted Bret the Hitman Hart wide open. The Hitman whipped to the opposing team's corner, and here we go. Playboy Buddy Rose starts stomping away at Bret the Hitman Hart. Here's a blind tag from Bob Backlund. And now it's his turn. And they are just putting the boots all over Bret the Hitman Hart. He is catching a hell. Man, Backlund comes in one more time. A drop kick to the Hitman. And he rolls out to the center of the ring. Backlund covers, so hits the leg. 1, 2. I would have thought that might have been it, but no. The Hitman still in the game here. Unneeded ahead of Bob Backlund. And Backlund goes down. The Hitman whips Backlund to the corner. Backlund counters. Bret counters. Bret Hart whips Backlund to the far corner. Turns him around. And there it is, a running bulldog out of the corner. Bob Backlund slammed face first to the canvas. Backlund counters with a dragon screw, seems to be all right. Rounds up Bret the Hitman Hart. Whips into his team's corner. The Playboy brought back in again. And another double team, another drop toe hold, and another elbow across the back of Bret the Hitman Hart. And listen to this crowd in Edmonton. They are going for Playboy Buddy Rose here. A kick to the midsection from the Hitman, a running bulldog to Buddy Rose. The Playboy rounded up by the Hitman. Up, here we go, pile driver. And a nasty one. The Hitman might have it here. 1. Nope, Bob Backlund right there to break up the pin. Bret Hart rounds up Playboy Buddy Rose for another running bulldog. And yeah, I would imagine Bret the Hitman Hart's got to be tired by now. This match just about half over. A stump puller on Playboy Buddy Rose. Referee Tom Kanamura checking things out, but Playboy finding his way out the back door. A kick from the Hitman, a second. Tries for the DDT, but no good. Playboy Buddy Rose right on him. A clothesline to Bret the Hitman Hart, and down he went. Bret Hart catches another clothesline from Buddy Rose, and another one. Buddy Rose whips him to the corner, charges. Big running splash, a rebound off the ropes, and a huge crossbody from Playboy Buddy Rose. Wow, he's moving. Hard right to the Hitman, turns him around. And what a suplex from the Playboy. Even Bob Backlund's cheering him on. The Hitman hits the opposing team's corner again. Uh-oh, this ain't good. Bob Backlund getting out of the way of Playboy Buddy Rose here as Bret the Hitman Hart gets ready to go for a very long ride. All the way down towards the announce table from the top turnbuckle. Playboy Buddy Rose. He just did a hell of a lot of damage to Bret the Hitman Hart. The Hitman counters, catches an arm drag from Playboy Buddy Rose. The Hitman counters. Playboy counters with a kick. The Hitman counters with a right. Rose counters with another right. Gets the Hitman up. The Hitman counters into an inverted DDT. Excuse me. Playboy Buddy Rose driven into the announce table. Bret Hart catches a fireman's carry. A hard right from Buddy Rose. And another backbreaker too. Man, he is just stringing all these moves together. The Hitman counters with an elbow to the leg. Playboy Buddy Rose with a headbutt to the Hitman. And finally, Buddy Rose gets him back in the ring. And not a minute too soon. Bob Backlund brought in on the tag. Bret the Hitman Hart just about standing up. Backlund misses with the kick. The Hitman takes him down center ring. He's going for a sharpshooter, but Playboy Buddy Rose would rather he didn't. And he just made the point. Backlund and the Hitman both wrecked after this long match. Bret the Hitman Hart delivers a half-hearted stomp to Bob Backlund. Goes for a cover. One. Just a one. That count was never going to stick. Backlund rounded up by Bret the Hitman Hart. The Hitman whips him to the corner. Tags in the Anvil. Backlund about to catch some double team hell here. The Hitman's got him up. The Anvil's off the second rope. Elbow across the chest of Bob Backlund. Backlund back up to a standing position. A hard right from the Anvil drives him into the corner. Again, Backlund counters with a kick. The Anvil counters with a kick. Backlund counters the clothesline into a spine buster. That was impressive. Bob Backlund countered by Jim the Anvil Neidhart. The Anvil with a clubbing double axe handle across the head of Bob Backlund. Backlund with a knee to the head of Jim the Anvil Neidhart. The fans definitely behind Bob Backlund here. A back body drop from Jim the Anvil Neidhart. The Anvil countered by Bob Backlund with a hard left and a clothesline. Backlund follows it up with a second one, rebounds off the ropes. A beautiful flying kick takes the Anvil down to the mat. The Anvil counters with an arm drag. Backlund counters with a shot to the midsection. Anvil counters with a kick. Gets Backlund up over the shoulders and an airplane spin. Bob Backlund's about to be real dizzy. The Anvil drops Bob Backlund. Follows that up with a stomp and a kick to the back. Backlund making his way back up. And a belly-to-belly suplex to Jim the Anvil Neidhart. How'd he do it? Bob Backlund rounds him up over the shoulders into a torture rack submission. That's it. The referee has called for the bell. That's it. Backlund and Playboy Buddy Rose win this match over the Hart Foundation by submission.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time, 13 minutes and 6 seconds. Your winners by submission, Bob Backlund and Playboy Buddy
Well, that was impressive. Backlund and Rhodes picking up a submission win over the Hart Foundation, with Bob Backlund using a submission move on Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Well, who would have believed it?
Well, it's like I told you. Backlund and Rhodes, they're a solid tag team, and they just proved it with a win over the Hart Foundation. Folks, that takes care of the first half of tonight's RWO Legends Showdown. We're going to be back with the second half right after these brief words. Hope to see you there.